If you're going to be a king, you have to have a throne. And if you're an audiophile and a videophile king, well, this might be the right seating for you. So stick around, I'm going to tell you all about the Valencia Naples Elegance seating. Before we get started, if you're into tech, hi-fi, or movies, be sure to push the subscribe button for new weekly videos. So if you're looking for seating, there are really three things that I like to talk about, right? So you've got the price, of course, very important, the features, right? And then the quality. Now, the features also include things like the look and, what do the buttons do and what's the seat built like. And well, today I'm going to tell you all about the Valencia Naples Elegance seating. And these seats are built specifically for someone who wants to have the best experience with audio, right? You might think, well, what does a seat got to do with audio? Well, I'm going to tell you all about that a little bit later in the video. But first, I want to talk about the features of this seat and then also how to put it together and that kind of process, right? Because it's all really kind of super easy. Like most home theater seating, and this is also 2-channel audiophile seating, this is a nice recliner, but this takes things up a level as far as the aesthetics go. So, most seating that you've seen kind of has like the diamond stitching. It's really tall in the back. It's got that leather look, right? Well, this is a huge departure. So you've got these arms that are piano black gloss. Now, the color of the seating is called Raven, and it's not quite as dark a black as the piano gloss here on the armrests, but it's still quite dark. And this particular version has white piping, and I think this is the only color these come in. I don't think you can customize these at all, but this has a super elegant look, and this is going to be right at home in both a theater and a 2-channel listening environment. You can get these in larger sets than the two that I have here. You can do a row of 3, a row of 4 if you want to. Just depending on your room size, you can do multiple rows. Also, you can just do it in a captain's kind of seat. So if you want to have just a 2-channel situation or a small home theater, you can have this just for yourself. Now, as far as features go, it's not stacked with all of the kind of crazy features like massage and that kind of stuff, but it does have the basics that you need to have a really, really comfortable and exciting experience in your room. For the powered piece of the seat, you have 3 different features. You've got the recline here, you've got a button for your LED lighting, and then you have a lumbar support, right? So this button will make this firmer or softer for you. Also, underneath the button here for the lights, you've got a old style USB-A, right? Obviously you can use a converter if you have USB-C devices, but this will charge your phone, which you could set up here. Now, if you come up to this armrest, there is a cup holder here, and it's not very deep, but it's enough to get your cup in so that you can't as easily bump it off of the armrest. So there are cup holders, maybe you call it a cup slot, but you do have a spot to help you hold your wine glass or your soda. The material is really nice. So this isn't leather, this is cloth. And this is a very nice velour, right? You can see how as you rub your hand against it, it moves the material. You can see that with a nice soft white piping as well that really sets this off. I like this because this is one solid, smooth piece, and it doesn't have the patterning. Now, you can get that if you prefer it, but for me, I really do like it in just one piece. I don't feel the stitching and that kind of stuff, and it kind of hugs me when I sit back, right? And I don't have anything to kind of take away from the experience. Now, I do want to just call out again the piano black, and if you look, you got piano black all the way down. It's all the way in the front. And then you have the velour material with the white piping here on the side of the arm. The armrest is quite wide. That's got to be, 7 inches or something like that, bigger than my hand. And I am about 240, 6 foot, so I'm not a small guy, although I am much thinner than before. And I have a good 5 inches on either side of me. So you can be a larger guy and fit into this pretty well. So, a good set of features. I would call it the minimum level of features, but that's, this seat isn't meant to be like a trick seat. This is a nice, comfortable listening and viewing seat that is elegant as opposed to kind of tricked out. Setup and install for this is very straightforward. If you've ever set up any type of theater seating before, you'll be familiar with the process. So these come in individual boxes. and they are really big boxes. So, you know, I would suggest 2 people, especially if you have to move them up and down stairs. And I would also, if you can, unbox them as close to the location where you're going to assemble them. You don't have to do that. We actually didn't do that because the boxes are so big, it's kind of hard for us to maneuver down into the basement. So we unboxed in the garage and then hand carried each piece down. This will come in 2 pieces. You'll have your base and then you'll have your backrest. And the backrest clips onto the 2 posts on the back of the seat, just like any other home theater seat, and then you will attach the power to that for the lumbar support inside of the back of the backrest on this chair. Once you have the sofa in position and unboxed, just a couple of things that you want to keep in mind. I would go ahead and take off the plastic protecting this piano gloss, and I do want to say one thing: the boxes, as you saw, got beat up pretty bad, but the sofa itself and the finish and the wood all came out perfect, right? So no blemishes, even though the boxes were destroyed. So they did their job. That's what they're supposed to do. Now from there, it's time to attach the back and the power, and then if you need to, connect the chairs together. So we're gonna go ahead and pull off this stuff. And a couple of things I want to point out. So the rear backrest is going to connect to these posts. Power to the lumbar is going to connect here. And then if you come around here, you're going to see where your power cable actually plugs in. So you can see that the power cables are not permanently attached. They're removable, which is nice. And then there's a power switch to turn everything on and off there. If you want to connect 2 seats together, one side will have posts, and then the other side will have these latches, and the latches swing out from the bottom. So just tilt your chair back and you'll be able to see those. And then they simply just push together, which I'll show you in a bit. But now we're going to go ahead and take the seat back and install onto these posts and then connect the power cord. From there, we have a back piece that we'll have to put on. The last piece in the rear, once you've got the power cable in, is to attach your trim piece. And these slots attach to these posts, and this just slides into place. The assembly is kind of a 5-minute process once you get the pieces in place. Super easy. You just push down, click, click, get your power going, plug in, and then you're off to the races. The LED lighting is installed across the bottom behind the footrest. This comes in a single color, this cobalt blue, and the button on each seat will activate or deactivate this strip of LED lights. Now I want to talk a little bit about what makes this an audiophile seat, right? And that really comes down to the headrest, or the lack thereof, right? So this seat comes up to the kind of the top of your shoulders, or maybe a little bit higher, just depending on how tall you are. And there's a reason for that, right? Well, there's the aesthetics, and some people don't want a headrest, but for folks that want to experience the best kind of immersive sound available to them, this is the kind of seat that you have to get, right? So it's really sound versus comfort, particularly if you're going to kick back and you're used to having that headrest to hold your head and you can kind of do this thing. Well, what this does is this allows all of your surround speakers, and then in a 2-channel room, all of the reflections off the wall, to make it to your ears uninterrupted, right? So there's no back headrest here that is blocking that sound out. So it does give you the best experience that you can have when you think of seats from a auditory and audible kind of experience. You know, there are certain people that swear by this kind of seat, and this is the only kind of seat that they'll have in both their theater and their 2-channel listening rooms. Other folks swear by having a headrest because they want that level of comfort, even though it does impact surround sound and reflections from the main left and right speakers. So it's going to really come down to what you value the most in your own experience, right? Do you have to have that headrest because you want to be able to kick back and be as comfortable as possible for 2.5 hours? Or do you want to be able to sit more upright or reclined a little bit and then experience the surround sound in the best way possible? So it's really going to come down to your personal preference as to what you like. Now let's talk about my impressions of the seat. So from a comfort level, it's very comfy. It's supportive enough for me, but not too hard, right? And I've had both my wife and children sit in the seats, and they agree that it is not too stiff for them. They're all much lighter than me. So the same level of support for them would give a more stiff experience than it would for me because I'm heavier. It's just kind of like a bed, right? But they were happy with the experience as well. The material is nice. So again, you have the leather versus cloth arguments. You know, leather's easier to clean, might last longer, might not. I'm not sure about that. The heat of leather, sometimes leather, you sit on it, it feels cold. Then you can get hot and sticky and sweaty in it, whereas cloth might be a little more breathable. So it's going to come down to your opinion on what you like better. However, I've not had any problems with this cloth. It's been very nice to sit in. Watched a number of movies in the seat and didn't experience any issues from that. The look of the chair is extremely elegant. I like the colors. I like the raven on the piano black. So it brings a level of kind of prestige to your room. Makes it feel very, very elegant. The quality of the build is outstanding. You know, put many hours on it, and it's just like it was as it was brand new. The only caveat to that is you do have to be careful with this piano gloss finish because you can scratch this, right? So you do want to take care here. Although it does buff up pretty good with a microfiber cloth, the only thing that I would be concerned about, other than just super big damage that might happen to any chair, is fine scratches that come into this paint finish. But so far, it's held up really well with only the lightest of scratches apparent here. So I really like that. You know, all in all, I give this 2 thumbs up. Again, the 2 big decision points are going to be, do you have to have a headrest, and are you good with the cloth material? Other than that, you're going to get an awesome audio experience, listening experience in this chair because you don't have that headrest kind of behind your head blocking reflections and surround sound. All right, that's going to bring us to the end of the video. Remember, take a look for these Valencia Naples seats. I'll have a link down below where you can find those. Cost on these is about $4,400. So not the least expensive option out there, but a lot of quality and value for that money, particularly if you want something on the higher end that brings that really, really, really nice look to your room. All right. Thanks for watching. Remember, like, subscribe, ring the bell, do all those things. I'll see you in the next video.